Ben Browder introduced into the show. He's done his homework clearly. I can imagine that I'm sh- I'm sure that it's not a coincidence that one of the first things that he says is, "Remember, no matter what, we're going to here to protect SG-1 at all costs." I correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that there would be an examination of the introduction of Jonas and how that worked, and a desire not to make the mistakes is not the right word, but the choices that were made to introduce that character when you're replacing and really replacing, someone like Jack for this role. Was there trepidation there? Was there we really want to nail this one and get it right?
Well, okay, yeah, that's the creative side of it. I'll backtrack and just explain that when we were casting this or putting out the idea of finding the part, um, I had a conversation with someone named Bonnie Hammer, who was the executive at the time, who was in charge of all of USA and Sci-Fi and the sort of Universal cable stations. I don't know what she does now. She's all the way up the food chain.
Mm.
And basically she said, get me Ben Browder. I want Ben Browder. And which puts us, like she had obviously been involved, I guess, in Andromeda. And I had, not Andromeda, I'm in FARSCAPE.
Yes.
And I mean, it puts you in a pretty difficult negotiating position with an actor when you have to make the deal.
According to Ben, he was not told this either.
Yeah, so. Of course not. Why would I tell the agent that we have to close the deal? That's a really bad negotiating strategy. Anyway, yeah, it was not like we had some options or a decision to make. We had to figure out a way to make. Listen, I'm not by any means suggesting we didn't want Ben or that he wasn't a great choice. I'm just saying that was there was definitely a passion for him to join the show from the studio.
There was an Atlantis push for him. I don't know if it was for Shepard. It may have been for Shepard. And then again, the commander of the unit going through the gate to rescue them at the end of season 1, Dylan something, the older gentleman. My understanding was that Ben was also considered for that position as well. So I believe twice on Atlantis before finally making the move for Cameron Mitchell. Do you
yeah.
Does that sound about right?
I mean, there was also some conversation about the fact that, I mean, Claudia had been on the show.
Yep.
And we were still, talking about how she could continue to be on the show. And we're like, do we really want to just make this, Fargate?
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, whatever. We worked it out.
Absolutely, you did. And bringing back Vala from season 8, the Prometheus Unbound, hugely resonated with fans. What was it? Was it pretty straightforward bringing her in, or was okay? Was this an intent? Like, we're going to have you in for a limited number of episodes. This is not the whole season run. Was that made pretty clear to her that she was kind of pinch hitting for Amanda? Or was that not a part of it at all? Could Amanda have come back and the two characters had run concurrently for season 9?
I'm sure Claudia would have an opinion about what was told to her. I don't remember exactly how it was all communicated, to be honest with you. But I really feel like we had so many conversations about the sort of writing structure and mythological value, I guess would be one way of putting it, of 4 leads.
Mm-hmm.
And like we just always sort of loved the way that you could kind of mix them up and you'd have two-handers and they would change, or or having the team of 4 with their each of their contributions. And 5, it just changes the shot.
Yeah, literally four
You
people
know,
fit in a 16:9 shot.
yeah.
So
I mean, you can make it work, but
sure.
it was just different, and also, Vala was, look, such a dynamic character. She had such a very distinctive personality, and she had this uh, tendency, in a very good way, to draw attention to herself and take over a scene. And so, trying to figure out how to drop that bomb into the mix was also something that we were afraid. How is this going to change the chemistry and dynamic of the team? I mean, it was frankly just stupid to have that thought or conversation because she's so fantastic and turned out so well. But that was maybe some of the thinking for testing the waters to see how it would work. Without committing to it, full on from the start.
Absolutely. And something clearly worked there, because at some point during season 9's production, when season 9 became a season 10, there was an offer for her to do a full additional season.
Yeah.
So something worked.
I mean, she was sort of undeniable.
And I think if there are through lines in the show, one of my friends said this once, and I have never forgotten it. If you can reduce SG-1 to individual aspects or individual ideas, one of them is certainly that people are redeemable. And I've never forgotten that. I thought that was like a stroke of genius. I'd never considered that being the case. But SG-1 is one of those things where when you see in season 10 her being handed those badges, now, you've proven yourself. You've proven your worth. You have proven that people can change for the better. You can still maintain your rough edge scoundrel personality, but you're a straight shooter nonetheless. And those patches were a symbol of SGC saying, we believe in you. We trust you. Let's move forward. And that was cool.
I don't want to get into too much of this conversation because it could really drag us down a rabbit hole. But as I've kind of gone on in my kind of life and beliefs and the things that I read and get into, I'm sort of more and more inclined to lean towards the idea that we don't really have free will. And this is a popular idea that causes a lot of people to react badly. They don't want to believe that they aren't the master of their own domain or don't deserve reward for their good decisions. But, thinking about even just the Gould, that's a human being that has something else in them controlling them and making them do bad things. And you take the Gould out and suddenly they're back to who they were, and they're not the person who was doing all those awful, cartoony, bad things. I feel like we as a society fail greatly in blaming people too much for their bad behavior. We haven't got solutions that we are able to put in place, so that what we have to do for now is build a wall around them. We put them in a prison or whatever to keep them from doing harm. But it's a failing of our understanding of what is actually making that person behave badly. That I would hope a future better version of us somehow figures out.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.